Before the mind sees, it filters. Before the eye observes, the self interprets. Reality does not arrive. Pure it passes through invisible layers shaped by memory, fear, culture, wounds, hopes, and habits. What we call vision is not a window but a maze. The first illusion is believing we see things as they are. We do not. We see them as we are. And between what exists and what reaches us, 1,000 filters quietly shape perception. Every human begins with a clean lens den. Childhood writes its first script. Voices from early years, tones of approval or rejection, the warmth of love or the frost of neglect, all become filters, defining what we fear, what we chase, what we avoid. The past becomes a lens through which the present is judged. Emotion does not let us see clearly. It paints everything as sadness, turning the world dim, an anger turning it sharp, a fear turning it narrow. We look outward, but what we see is our own color. The selective mind notices what confirms it and ignores what challenges it. Not because the truth is hidden, but because comfort is louder than clarity. This is the filter of confirmation, the easiest trap and the hardest to escape. Fear magnifies what threatens and shrinks what reassures. The same event appears monstrous to one person and insignificant to another, not because the world changed, but because the filter did. Trauma is not the wound alone, it is the lens the wound creates. A single betrayal teaches the mind to distrust. A moment of helplessness trains the heart to flinch. We live through moments, but we carry lenses. Desire bends perception like heat bends air. We see opportunity where danger hides, and danger where truth invites. The mind serves desire even when it pretends to serve reason. The ego hates contradiction. It reshapes reality to protect its image. It edits memory, silences guilt, polishes motives, not out of wisdom but out of fragility. No mind is born in isolation. Culture hands us its map, its definitions of beauty, success, virtue, and fear. Some use the map wisely. Others mistake the map for the world. Language does not only describe reality, it creates it. What your culture lacks a word for, your mind struggles to see. Words are frames, and frames are filters. Assumptions build invisible prisons. They convince us we already know, so we stop searching. A closed mind is not a weak mind, it is a mind imprisoned by its own certainty. Memory is not a recording. It is an editorial. It keeps what hurt, erases what healed, magnifies what scared, shrinks what reassured. The past is not stored, it is recreated. Expectation shapes perception. We see what we anticipate, not what exists. Hope colors the world as surely as fear does. Even exhaustion is a filter. When the body weakens, the world darkens. We misinterpret words, overreact to noise, and lose balance not because truth changed, but because we did. Inner noise blurs perception. Worries, comparisons, regrets, each speaks at once. The mind becomes a crowded room, and clarity becomes a rare guest. But every filter, no matter how thick, can be recognized. And what is recognized can be questioned. And what is questioned can be broken. The journey to truth begins by seeing the filters, not the world. Have you ever noticed how two people can experience the same event, but walk away with completely different stories? It's not because the world changed. It's because each person was looking through a different lens. Reality itself is singular, but the minds that encounter it are countless. Behind every single one of your perceptions stand invisible editors. These are your fears, your hopes, your past wounds, your pride, even your fatigue. Your culture and your habits play a role. They all work together, editing the truth before it even has a chance to reach you. Think about it. The mind protects the ego even more fiercely than it protects the body. It will bend stories, reshape who's to blame, and rearrange facts all to avoid the simple discomfort of admitting it was wrong. In this way, what starts as self-protection slowly becomes self-deception. And our desires, they don't just pull our body, they pull our minds. They whisper, "Look at this opportunity," but ignore that danger. They have a way of beautifying what harms us and casting a shadow over what could heal us. A desire that you don't examine becomes a filter you can't control. Pain also narrows the world. When we're hurting, every kindness can feel like suspicion. Every silence can feel like rejection. A delay in response becomes a sign of disinterest. When pain is the lens you're looking through, even love itself becomes difficult to recognize. But joy can distort our vision too. It can make us overlook danger, ignore warnings, and misread someone's intentions. Joy is a true blessing, but when it's left unchecked, it can become a veil just as thick as sorrow. And then there's pride. Pride creates the largest blind spot of all. It convinces the mind that everything external is flawed, while everything internal is correct. It makes the self untouchable, and in doing so, it makes the truth unable to touch us. Assumptions pile up silently, one on top of the other, until they completely bury any chance of clarity. We see a gesture and assume we know the intention. We hear silence and assume it's hostility. We see someone is different and assume they are a threat. Assumptions are the heaviest filters because they feel so much like certainty. When the mind surrounds itself only with what it already knows, what it already believes, it starts to hear its own voice echoing back and mistakes it for the truth. This is the great illusion of agrumenta, self-made confirmation that only serves to blind us further. Comparison is a silent thief. It completely distorts our perception by turning life into a never-ending measurement. We stop seeing our own blessings and start seeing only the gaps between us and others. And what about habit? Habit shapes our perception far more than conscious thought. We stop questioning. We stop noticing. We stop challenging the familiar pathways our minds love to take. The mind just follows its loops not because they lead to truth, but simply because they are easy. So, when two minds collide, it's their filters that collide first. Arguments are rarely about what's actually true. They're about different lenses trying to occupy the same space at the same time. But sometimes, just sometimes, a moment of pure clarity breaks through. A brief instant where our emotions settle, our ego quiets down, our fear loosens its grip, and the truth just glimmers. These moments are the most honest glimpses of reality we can ever get. The first step toward achieving that clarity is simply recognizing the filter, naming it, observing how it works, seeing exactly how it bends the world around you. This awareness is the very first crack in the illusion. The second step is to question the filter. Ask yourself, is this fear or is this truth? Is this just a desire or is this real wisdom? Is this a memory or is this reality? These questions begin to loosen the grip of the illusion, and when that filter finally breaks, truth rushes in. It's not always pleasant. It's not always gentle, but it is always, always liberating. Clarity isn't a gift given to a chosen few, it's a return to the pure, clear lens we were all created with. A lens that's aligned with truth, not tinted by the illusions of our own making. And when our filters fall away, the world appears completely new. Not because the world changed, but because we can finally see it for what it is. The journey toward truth is always a journey inward. It's about cleaning the lens, reclaiming your perception. It's about escaping the illusions of the mind and returning to the real.